Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. So welcome to the first video in what is going to be a mini-series in the dissection of my newest track, Chief of the Sky. And for all of you who have listened to the track already, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate all of your support and all of your feedback. It really means a lot to me. So I wanted to jump in and kind of talk about the track a little bit. And this video is dedicated to the theory side of it and all the musical aspects that make up the composition. So let's start with that. What I'll do is I'll actually kind of go bit by bit through the track, and I've made a Word document here kind of talking about some of the details, and then we can break that down. So let's start right away. So it's in E major. We have the 4/4 time, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this mini melody. Right? So do 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 do. You notice some vibrato in there, right? So it sounds a little bit haunting. There's a woodwind in there, that's why. And I wrote here, you notice that there's actually no harmony. Because if there was harmony, you would get a sense of support and a sense of foundation. But I felt that the pedal of the E on the very bottom, done by the strings and stuff, that was enough for this mini melody here. So there was no harmony for the melody. The melody was just all by itself and in unison. So two instruments were playing it. So let me just do it one more time. Right? So it's kind of like what's about to come, right? It kind of gives you a taste of a little teaser of what's to come. Let's just talk about the, let's see, what else can we talk about? Yeah, nothing really else, honestly. I think the whole intro is kind of to set up the cinematic feel of it, and to really just say, this is the whole attitude of the piece. So if you notice in that melody, what I did was I basically went from the dominant, which is B, and went to E, which is the 1. So I'm already going 5, 1, and then, so that in itself already makes it feel like you're definitely in E major, right? Like you're set, you feel home already. Then I kind of went up a little bit. So instead of going to E again, I went to F sharp. And so that means you're going somewhere now. This is the supertonic, or the second note of the E major scale, right? So it's like you're traveling further away. And then finally, that's actually a minor 7th. So, from before, B to E is simply just a 4th. You're just going home, right? But when you go to the F sharp, it's like you're going even farther. And then the A is like the farthest you've gone so far. But right after that A, we go back down to G sharp. And then we kind of end this phrase with the dominant. So it sounds like this. And so then I ended with that melody with F sharp. So let me just finish this. Dun, 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 back down to B, and then F sharp. Dun, da, da. Right? And so F sharp is the supertonic, which kind of wants to fall back down to E, if we're talking about the melody here. Da, da, right? It just makes it want to go back home. Cool. And then let's find the second part of this melody. Dun, dun. Okay, so let's do that one more time. So there's a slight difference there. So let's write this down. The first part still is the same, but now instead of going dun dun, I'm going dun dun. I'm instantly going up to that high B. Dun. And then I'm going down. Dun, 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 dun. So this B to high B is kind of the highlight there. So we thought B to A was the farthest that we would jump, right, from the lowest note. But now we actually get the octave from the low B to the high B. Dun, dun. And so that's what kind of stresses, okay, this is kind of an adventurous feeling, right? You've leaped a considerable distance, right? So That's why that kind of catches your attention a little bit. As a general rule, like when you have melodies, if you're just going by step and stuff, it feels really comfortable and it feels very at home and safe. But if you take bigger intervals like, you know, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, then that's really attention grabbing, right? And it's kind of like, wow, instruments don't always do that. It's kind of something that's not as usual or as typical. So, you know, good amount of those will make your music very interesting. Just a side note here, I noted that the pedal E stays until the end of each phrase. So if we have a quick listen, if you just listen to the bottom, you hear the E along. Dun 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 dun. Now here's the end of the phrase. Dun 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 dun. So the E held all the way until the end, and then we went down to the subdominant, which is A major, to B, which is 5, which naturally wants to go back to 1, which is E, and we get that in the second half of the melody. Just a, you know, very classical cadence. So an imperfect cadence followed by a perfect cadence, which is 5-1. So imperfect would be 4-5. Okay, and then yeah, I just wrote here the melody is contained within an octave, so it's not crazy, but you know, it has some kind of reach when you get to that high B. Going up the octave is traditional to give a sense of elevation, so that's what we mentioned already. Okay, let's keep going. So now you notice that the brass is up the octave. So it makes it feel like, you know, it's went up a step, or it's like more epic than before, right? The first time we're just stating the theme, the second time is more like you're emphasizing the melody even more. Okay, let's go to section B. Now this is probably my favorite section, actually, aside from section A. I just love the warm feeling of this part. Why did I B there? Jeez. And there we go. We had a 7 in there because I had a 7. Okay, so let's go chord by chord here. Okay, so I start on 4, 1, 6, F sharp, and then 5. So all I'm doing is I'm going A, G sharp, F sharp, B in the bass. So yeah. If you think about the E major scale, right? I'm going here, so from the 4 to the 3, the note, to F sharp, which is 2, and then 5, and then I went up the opposite way, 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of going down, I went up again, and then I wanted to go down again. So I went 4 to 1, 6, which is G sharp, and then F sharp. And I wanted to throw in a little dominant chord there instead of going from 2 straight to 1. I think it's just a classical thing I'm used to. I like going 5 to 1 whenever possible. So I went 4, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, right? And then A major. Now I wanted this chromatic movement, so I went A sharp, B in the bass. And the chord that resulted was the 5-7 of the 5 chord. So let's just actually listen to this a little bit. So we're here, 4, 5, 4, 3, and then. So the 5 is B major, and the dominant 7th of B major is an F sharp dominant 7th. So do 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 do, and that's the chord we used there, just to transition between the A major and B major chord. And then I just wanted that extra push to push us into a new level, and that's why I went up to F sharp major, which is a whole step above E major, the original key. And then step up to the dominant, and now we're in F sharp. More emphatic. can't really explain why I wanted to do that little bit at the end there. I just, in the moment, I just decided to do it. So no explanation for that. And then as the music winds down, we get to this section C, which is softer in nature. And now we're definitely in F sharp, just like we were in the section A prime. So here we're just kind of exploring, you know? Kind of a relaxed melody. Maybe I'll write down the notes of the melody actually. So let me write that down here. Oops. Melody notes. So this is the oboe. F sharp, E sharp, F sharp, C sharp, E sharp, D sharp. So from the F sharp to the C sharp is a fifth. So that in itself kind of gives us that leaping feeling again. But again, it's not quite as high as the octave because this is naturally a more relaxed section, so I didn't want to go too high. And then restating this section again, or this part of the theme, and then I went A sharp to D sharp. And instead of going down on the D sharp, oh sorry, it should be E sharp. Then I went So we still have the downward feeling at first in the melody, but then you go back up to the D sharp, which is an octave higher than this D sharp. Again, a traditional kind of thing. And then the horn comes in. Oh yeah, and I also wrote down the chords here. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Again, a pretty traditional chord progression. And then when the horn comes in, you get this progression here. So let's just play it right here. 6, 5, 4, 1, 6, 2, 5, 7. I mean, if this is not classical, I don't know what is, but it's essentially just a descending progression. And the bass notes are literally just D sharp, C sharp, B, A sharp, G sharp, and then to the 5, because G sharp is 2, right? So 6, 5, or sorry, yeah, 6, 5, 4, 1, 6, or technically the third degree of the scale, so 3, and then to 5, and then of course we go to 1, which is over here. So to 5, 7, and repeat this again. Okay, now this part right here, I love this progression, and actually I was kind of stuck after composing up until this part, so I couldn't really decide how to continue this from this point onwards, and then this little progression just popped into my head. So this came at a separate time than everything else, and it sounds like this. So let me just play it from just before. Isn't that a little lovely sequence? I just love how rich that can sound, you know? So we're still in F sharp major, and G sharp minor is the first chord that we're going to go to, or resolve to. So like I said, I just did a mini sequence. So we have the 5, 7, the dominant seventh of the 2 chord, which is D sharp 7, D sharp dominant 7, going to G sharp minor, and then I go to 5, 7 of F sharp major, which is C sharp major, to F sharp major. What's cool is that here you can see, you can think of it as 2 parts, 5, 7 of 2 to 2, and then 5, 7 to 1. But the reason why this works well is because here you can also see there's a 2, 5, 1, which I've mentioned before in a previous video that this is a common progression for jazz, and classical music as well actually. But yeah, you can always strengthen your cadences by extending them. So using 2 or 4 before, it's a good idea sometimes. Okay, let's hear that one more time. Let's go on. the melody follows the same pattern. And now the melody is going to elevate. Okay, so we started at 4, and now we're going to go away from F sharp major, so it's like we're heading towards D major, because now we have a minor chord, F sharp minor, before we had F sharp major, so now it's like, whoa, F sharp minor. And then now we have G major, which is in D major, and then 1/6 of D major, and then 2 chord and D major, which is E minor. So some people might expect 2-5-1, right, in D major, maybe E minor, A major, D major. But in this case, after the 2 chord, I wanted to go back to F major because I just really like that key. And so the main reason I went back to F sharp actually is because in the melody, let me just do this once. Let's start from here. I'm gonna write the notes of the melody down. So D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G. And then, you know, da-da. So again, we ascended chromatically to that G sharp, and that's the main reason for using that chord there. Do, do, do. So this is still F sharp major, but now do, do, do. Now we have this F sharp minor chord. Now G major chord, do, do, do. D major chord, do, 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 do. Which is an E minor chord, and then we rise up to the G sharp over the C sharp major chord, and that brings us back to F sharp major. So I should write here F sharp major, and this is familiar, we've already seen this before. So let's continue. So 1, oh, I wonder where I've seen this progression before. 3, 4, so similar to here, right? But now I go back down to 2, then to 5, 7. Oh, sorry, I missed the 1/6, that's okay. Then to 3, down to the 5, 7, and 4. Now this is a transition chord right here. So I went 1 to 3, F sharp major to A sharp minor, and I wanted, yeah, like I said, a transition chord. So I took the 4 chord, which is B major, did its dominant 7th, which is F sharp 7, and that made sense to me because afterwards I'm going to the 2 of F sharp minor, oh sorry, F sharp major, which is G sharp, right? So if the bass note here is F sharp, then it leads up to G sharp, which is going to go up to A sharp in the bass, then B in the bass, and then B sharp in the bass, because this is another dominant 7th of the 5 chord, to the 1/6-4, so C sharp in the bass. So basically it's an ascending pattern, and then it stays on C sharp. So it sounds like this if you just listen to the bass. 2, 1/6, do, 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 and to 1. Okay, I forgot to talk about the melody, so let me do that really quickly. So even just there, I already went up the octave, so I went da, da, da. Now up to C sharp, da, da, and then da, da, da. So I repeated the first 3 notes, but now instead of going to C sharp, I went past the octave and I went to E sharp. So that's actually, is that an 11th? Yeah, an 11th. I think so. Up to E sharp and then back down to the C sharp. So past the octave there. So first we have C sharp to C sharp, and then we have C sharp to E sharp. And so that's the key moment there. And then you know, typical ascending melody. So that's there too. And then right? And then here again. And ascending. 2, 1. And now we're establishing the 1 again. And now here's... So you heard that, the D major to E major, back to F sharp major in this key. And if you remember in A New Beginning, that breakdown I did there, I mentioned that using flat 6 to flat 7 is a pretty cinematic thing to do. And unconsciously, I just did this again. So, these notes are normally not in F sharp major. So, flat 6 and flat 7, like D and E natural. Usually we have D sharp and E sharp in the key of F sharp, right? So, in this case, that kind of throws in that extra color. And the melody's obviously restating the main theme from the beginning to tie it all together. And now the melody uses a flat 7 instead of just normal 7. And then a crescendo and an F sharp major to establish it, if it wasn't established enough already. But anyway, there we go. So that is the breakdown of the musical elements. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about the arrangement and the orchestration and all the stuff that made up the actual arrangement of the piece. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and please let me know if you have any questions about it, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, so please let me know. Okay, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.